Four-star corner Cobey Sellers commits to the Aggies. Mike Elko is loading up this 25 class at the cornerback position.
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on in to Locked On Aggies. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak. Thanks for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs help find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions do apply. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope everybody had an outstanding weekend. And listen, I think everybody did, knowing that the Aggies land four-star corner Cobey Sellers. So, Sellers, four-star corner, once again, ranked 124th in 24/7 Sports rankings for the 25 class. He is ranked, that's like 150th in the composite rankings, so a couple of the other outlets have him a little bit lower, but 24/7 Sports is the one that y'all know I trust, and they love him. So 5'11 and a half. We're not going to get into that. Y'all know my opinion on that. 175-pound corner. So we're going to get into Sellers as a player. But first, I want to talk about something that should excite Texas A&M fans. And it's what I said to open up the show. Look, Coach Elko is loading up at corner in this 25 class. Listen, we all know that heading into this 2024 season, the cornerback position is one where we're like, okay, well, we feel okay about it. There's some upside there. We've got some young guys. We've got some veterans, but we're definitely stressed out. We don't feel great. And Coach Elko, obviously, I think he feels the same way. So he says, hey, the goal is to never have to worry about this again. Let's load up in our recruiting classes so we can get players, develop them, and then we're good to go. And he's doing that. Of course, Cobey Sellers is the highest ranked of the currently committed corners for the Aggies. Once again, ranked about 124th in the 24/7 Sports rankings and about 150th in the composite rankings. Which composite rankings, once again, I want to reiterate this, that means all of the different services, Rivals, On3, I think ESPN's part of it, but they combine all those numbers, and that's the composite. So the other two corners currently committed to this 2025 class are DeJohn Petaway and then Jamar Beal Goins. So you've got two other guys committed. You got a 4-star, you got a 3-star. So Beal Goins, I need to figure out how to pronounce it because I've got a buddy who with the same last name and his is Goins. So it's either Goins or Goins. But he's a very underrated cornerback. Very underrated player. Should be ranked higher than he is. I do believe he will end up getting his 4th star before it's all said and done. Petaway, really, really good player. I think you're going to see him and Sellers locking it down for years and years and years and years once they develop and they're ready to rock and roll. So that's my opinion on where the position is right now. The cornerback position, it's one where in this recruiting class, I think you've done a great job of going to get guys, high upside guys. And then a player like Sellers, you got to watch the tape on him. And once again, I don't have the rights to show his tape on the show. I wish I could. People always come and say, Andrew, I would if I could. But you got to check out the tape over on 24/7 Sports. It's really good stuff. He's a guy who plays quarterback and corner. So he's on both sides of the ball. I'm going to read his scouting report here in a minute, but I just want to read it one more time. I'm excited about the 2025 class when it comes to the cornerback position. Coach Elko's doing a really good job getting these guys ready to rock and roll at that position. I think that and I don't think they're done yet. I think they're going to keep adding. It's a stacked spot. I think loading up in secondary, see your issues, see where you go. Okay, we're a little bit old at this position, and we need to go get young next year. And Coach Elko is doing that. He's going to get young. He's going to get players, and I just feel really good about what he's doing with the cornerback room here, which is going to be good for the future. So that's my thoughts on the position as a whole when it comes to 25 class. Sellers as a player, I want to read this part of his scouting report. So this is from Hudson Standish of 24/7 Sports, and this is a fresh scouting report. It was from about 8 days ago. So He goes on to say a lot of, dynamic two-way player, played quarterback, stuff there. But this is when it gets to the cornerback position, this is where it gets interesting to me. He says, foot speed is evident. He is a track star. Foot speed is evident. Battling wide receivers off the line of scrimmage effectively, can mirror in coverage and stay on top of wideouts deeper into the route. Experience at quarterback translates to the other side of the ball, which helps Sellers as a zone defender, reading eyes and breaking quickly into passing lanes. Willing run defender who flashes physicality, defending screens on the outside. Should be viewed as a potential multi-year starter at a Power 4 level with NFL draft upside if he can keep progressing. And he's a kid recruiting everybody that's a college football fan, a fan of a school, Texas A&M fan. When you watch film on players or you see a kid play, you go, man, that kid is going to be an SEC player. Man, that kid should be playing Division I football somewhere. When you watch the film on Sellers, and that's the film, in all honesty, when you just look at the kid, he looks like an absolute monster. He is not someone that I would, I would make fun of him. I wouldn't say, hey, your shoes are silly, because, he's a big dude. He's a strong dude. I like him. I like the film a lot. I like the upside a lot. And a great point that Standish made in that scouting report was something I often talk about why I like players who play both ways in high school, is the fact that he's played quarterback. He knows what's in the head of a quarterback. He can see things. He can read the quarterback's eyes. He's going to get a lot of interceptions that way. He's going to break on a lot of routes that way. He's going to get a lot of pass breakups that way. I think that stuff matters. I don't think it's everything, but I think it's something. There's just something about knowing what's in the head of that quarterback. Hey, I've been there before. I've been in third and 7. I know what he's thinking. I see where the receivers are stacked. I know what's going to happen here. There's something about just having a high football IQ. And the more positions you play, the more, if you play on both sides of the football, the higher football IQ you are going to have. Sellers is a kid, once again, is it as a freshman? Y'all know my opinions there. We're not going to continue to reiterate that. It would be tough for him to come in as a freshman and get significant playing time. Not impossible, but tough. But he is a guy I do see potentially starting as a sophomore. Just a massive dude. He is my number one guy now in this class in the corner room. And I just got done talking about how high I am on Beal Goins when it comes to the upside there. Pettaway is going to be a star. I love both those guys. But Sellers is my dude right now that he's officially committed. I really like the tape on this young man. I think he's going to be a really good player for a long time. And I do think he's, like Standish said here in the scouting report, I do think he has NFL upside. So, highly ranked guy. Now he's the second highest ranked player in Texas A&M's class, behind only the quarterback, Husan Longstreet. And when you watch him play, it makes sense why. There's no secret as to why this kid's ranked as high as he is. So, and this is the interesting thing, and I want to talk about this a little bit before we move on here. But the class is now, at the time of this recording, ranked 10th overall in college football, the 25 class for the Aggies. One of my question marks about Coach Elko when he made the move to Texas A&M was, okay, I know he's been here as a DC. Can he be the guy and recruit? And I think he's done an incredible job. I think he's hired incredible staff to help him. I am no longer concerned about Texas A&M recruiting. And I didn't think it'd be hard for him to recruit here with all the resources and all that. I didn't think it'd be difficult, but I still wanted to see him do it. And he is officially doing it. You go get a top 50 quarterback. You go get an elite corner. You go get a really good running back and Ryden. I mean, I really like the way this class is shaping up. I think you're filling holes, and you're filling holes with elite talent. So I'm excited about the future of Texas A&M football because, I think we all agree. We knew that Coach Elko was going to develop players. We knew that he was going to be great when it comes to X's and O's. The question was he going to be able to get those 5- and 4-star players? And he's doing it. He's getting these high 4 stars. He's going to get some 5 stars. I mean, I believe he's going to get it done. So, I think Coach Elko's done a great job recruiting, and I don't think that success is going to stop any time soon. Cobey Sellers is officially committed. Massive addition. This class is in a really good spot. We're going to talk a little bit about where Athlon Sports has the Aggies ranked in their post-spring rankings and kind of my thoughts on this. I've read some articles from different places talking about, hey, what are we concerned about with the Aggies? What do we feel good about? What is going to make or break the season? We'll talk about all that coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, got to tell you about our wonderful friends over at LinkedIn Jobs. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. So, Athlon Sports put out their post-spring rankings for the college football season, and they had the Aggies 22nd. Completely fair ranking, in my opinion. Those of you every day here at Locked On Aggies know that I believe that Texas A&M is going to be somewhere in that 21 to 25 area to start the season. I do think that I'm not saying that people are calling in favors. I think this is a top 25 roster, and I've made that very clear. But I do believe that people want this matchup with Notre Dame to be a top 25 matchup. So I think for sure the Aggies are going to be ranked to start the season. Not like anyone's calling shots on that. I just, I think that it's going to be a ranked matchup. So 22nd is a completely fair spot. Once again, I think I'm completely fine with that. I don't think that's too high. I think it's perfect. I saw the Aggies ranked 17th somewhere the other day. And it was funny because I was like, that seems a little bit high. I'm going to be honest here. That's a little bit high. I think that 22nd is a perfect spot to have the Aggies ranked heading into this season, especially after spring, after knowing what we know, seeing what we saw. I think it's a fair spot to have the Aggies. So what Athlon Sports said that they like about Texas A&M is the upside of Connor Wigman, and then what Nick Scorton and Shamar Turner are going to do on the defensive line. And I don't think there's any question there. Listen, we know what Connor Wigman can be. We've seen the flashes. He's got to, A, stay healthy, and B, he's got to put it all together. And that is not going to be the easiest thing to do. We've talked about he's got some great weapons. He's got a lot of great stuff going for him. I think Connor Wigman's going to have a great season. We know what Coach Klein brings. We talked about the Klein effect the other day, and that is a very serious thing. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I am battling a cold right now, and I'm coughing up a storm. But so looking at this, I just think that this, what I keep calling it, the Klein effect. We ran through the numbers the other day. If you missed that show, it was a great breakdown of, what the numbers for Coach Klein last year and why I think that's going to translate here at Texas A&M. But I think that he's going to make Connor Wigman better just based on how good of a play caller he is, a coach he is. He knows the position. He's just a really incredible football coach. That's why the other day we talked about there's a chance that he has moved on to a head coaching job sooner than later, which is painful and sad and everything, but it's a reality. He's a great coach, and I think that you're going to see that play out this year. So, yeah, the upside of Connor Wigman it should be enough to have people excited about the Aggies. I think that, here's the deal. Not rocket science, what I'm getting ready to tell you. If you want to be a good college football team, you got to have a good quarterback. Nothing hard hitting there. That is just reality. You want to be good, you got to have a good quarterback. And I think the Aggies have a really good quarterback. I think that, and we've run through some rankings lists that have Connor Wigman here, 8, 9, whatever, which is fair. And I've discussed that. He's not going to be any higher. He's just not going to be. That's just reality. But I'm willing to bet that he is higher than he's top 5, potentially top 3 at the end of the season. I'm all in on Connor Wigman once again, ladies and gentlemen. And listen, you got to remember the numbers, the QBR, everything last season was incredible before he went down with his injury. He was great. I know it was Miami and then a bunch of not great teams, but the point is he looked sharp. He was passing the eyeball test, and I think he's going to do that again this season. And then, Nick Scorton and Shamar Turner, they both have to live in the backfield. They got to help stop the run. They have got to do everything that they can do. I think these guys need to combine for 15 sacks or something. I think that'd be awesome if you got 10-5 or, 10-7 or something crazy like that from these two. I mean, you'd love to see a lot of pressure, help in the run game, get after the quarterback. Once again, and I've said this time and time again, I want the opposing quarterback for teams the Aggies are playing that Saturday to go to bed on Friday night, and they close their eyes and all they see is Shamar Turner and I'm gonna say Connor Wigman and Nick Scorton. That's what I want to happen, and I think that's how good they can be. So when it comes to the national media's opinions on the Aggies, I think the main concern, heading in, if there was one on defense, one on offense, on the defense it'd be the secondary. There's no question there. Just stuff I've seen, it seems like the perspective on Texas A&M's secondary, people are starting to buy into the hype there a little bit more than I was expecting. So now, which is that fair? Is that not fair? I'm starting to buy into the hype myself that I don't think they're going to be like top 5 in the SEC, but I think they're going to be a unit that's good enough that you're not going to go, oh man, we lost another game because of our secondary. We lost another game because of deep touchdown passes. I don't think you're going to see it be like that. Will it be perfect? No, but will it be bad? I don't think so either. And I think that's kind of why the national media's opinion on the Aggie secondary has kind of gone that way as well. It's like, well, listen, they're going to be okay. It's going to come down to offensive line. I mean, once again, I cannot lay it out there for you any simpler than this season will come down to how the offensive line plays. And I'll tell you, I haven't made up my mind on who I think is going to be the starting offensive line for this football team. I don't think anybody has. I really think there are a lot of moving parts. I don't think that maybe the coaching staff doesn't even know yet. I think that there's still a lot going on right now with this offensive line. The Bryce Foster stuff really threw stuff out of the way. That's why going to get the kid from Utah was such a big deal. I mean, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with this Texas A&M offensive line. But I'll be honest with you, I think the upside of the season is going to come down to how good this unit is. And I read another article talking about the Aggies kind of saying the same thing. Hey, if this offensive line's good, this football team can be really good. If this offensive line isn't good, this team might not reach their potential. And, looking at this offensive line, I do believe that if these struggles do come to fruition, if this offensive line doesn't end up being as good as we believe it can be, I do think Coach Klein can draw up an offense to win football games. But I do think it's going to prevent you from getting to your ceiling for sure. If you have to draw up an offense around an offensive line, around struggles from your big guys up front, I think it's going to severely limit the upside of this football team. So that's kind of the perspective, I think, around the world on the Aggies. I think there's the offensive line concerns are definitely there. And they're fair. They're fair. I mean, once again, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, the offensive line is going to be elite. I don't know if I believe that. I think the offensive line is going to be serviceable. But I think with the rest of this team, the rest of this roster, and this coaching staff, serviceable might just get the job done. I also think that Coach Cushing is a very good offensive line coach. I do believe in him and his ability to really turn things around and fix this unit and get him in a good spot. So that's kind of my take on. And once again, I think 22 is a very fair spot to have the Aggies ranked. I'm all in on that. And I think that's fair. And I think that's right around where you'll see Texas A&M ranked when the season gets here very soon, even though it's very far away. Another series loss for the baseball team. Is the sky falling? Should we be concerned? That's going to be the conversation coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But let's talk about FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and so much more. If you're betting on a sporting event, whether it's NBA, whether it's NHL, whether it's the MLB, football when it's back, you shouldn't be doing it anywhere else other than FanDuel. The app is so easy to use. It just makes the game more fun. Betting on a football game or whatever game, it just makes it more fun to sit there. It adds something to the line. It adds something, on top of what you're already watching. It's a ton of fun. You got to go check out FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So, the Aggies go on the road and lose a series to the Ole Miss Rebels. And is this frustrating? Yes, very much so. Is this baseball team slumping? Yes. Yes. I'm not going to sit here and say they aren't. And y'all know I am as in on this team as humanly possible. Montgomery's not had his best stretch of baseball. That happens. If you played the game of baseball, it is an up and down sport. It is not always easy. You are going to go through rough patches. It's going to happen a lot. And there are low lows and there are high highs in this game. And this team is low right now. You lose back-to-back series and you're in a weird spot. Okay, so you lose game 1 of the series 4-3. You lose game 2 10-2. And then you do a great job once again. Do you want to take a positive away? At least you salvaged again. Am I happy you went 1-2 this weekend? Of course not. But at least you salvaged. I'd be a lot more upset if you got swept this weekend. A lot more upset. You found a way. You found a way. To me, this is very simple. It's a very simple concept. And if you beat Arkansas this weekend in a series, you are going to be a top 8 seed, which means that you control your own destiny all the way, which you control your own destiny either way, I'm saying, but you can play at home all the way to Omaha if you keep winning. I think that there's a pretty high chance. I'd have to see the numbers. I still think there's a high chance that the Aggies are a top 8 seed. They're definitely still hosting, even if they lose the series, a regional. But do they host a super? I can't sit here and give you a confident percentage, but I still think there's a pretty high chance. I mean, if you lose the series, you'd be 18-12 in SEC play, 12 losses on the year. I mean, I don't see a world where, that doesn't get the job done. But still, win this series this weekend, okay? If you want to talk about a way to get – right now, the issue for me is confidence. I don't care. Listen, I don't care. If the Aggies host a regional and they have to go on the road somewhere to play a super regional, I don't care. I believe in this team. I know they can win it. I know they can. I'm not concerned about that. What I will say is this. It's a confidence thing, ladies and gentlemen. This is a confident game. You got to be confident. And this baseball team right now, I don't think is feeling their most confident. And it's hard to. You lose back-to-back series against baseball teams that you're better than. It hurts. It knocks you down a little bit. I'll tell you what. Do y'all want this team to win, Texas A&M fans? 12th man, y'all want this team to win the national championship? Well, show up this weekend. And I know I'm not saying that like people are giving up on this team. I know that ballpark is going to be filled to the rim. I know that. But I'm just saying, show up, be loud, be proud, be rowdy. Listen, you win this series. Doesn't matter. What happened last week? What happened the week before? No one cares. You have to have a short memory in the game of baseball. I've heard my dad say that to me a million times. I've had coaches say that to me a million times. You got to have a short memory. What happened yesterday? What happened last at bat? I already forgot. What happened last outing on the mound? I already forgot. Doesn't matter. You got to stay confident. If this baseball team goes out and wins this series against Arkansas, do you think they're going to be going, well, I mean, it was great for us, but, we lost LSU and Ole Miss, so, I mean, who cares? No, they're going to say, yeah, we took care of business. We're ready to rock and roll. Let's get into the postseason. So win this series this weekend, and all is forgiven. Arkansas is a really good baseball team. You're going to see a really good pitcher in the opener. And Smith, it is going to be a top 10 pick, I believe, in the MLB draft. So not going to be an easy ask, but it's doable. You win this series, you're putting yourself in a position to host all the way until you make the move to Omaha if you go that far, and that is always the goal. I believe in this team. Yes, I can sit here after another series loss and tell you I believe this team can win a national championship. My opinion has not changed. This team is slumping. All it takes to get out of a slump is a little bit of confidence. You beat Arkansas in a series this weekend, you have got it. Need to win. It'll be a lot of fun. We will break down this series a lot this week. I'm really excited about it, ladies and gentlemen. I know y'all are too. So we will break it down, and then after that, hey, it's postseason time. That is going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Aggies. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope everybody's having a great Monday so far. Have a great rest of your day today, and we will see you tomorrow.